So next week for the Quest Wednesdays, the theme is inclusion. And I'm curious, when you hear that word inclusion, what are your own reflections on it?
Yeah, with these topics, I always go to my personal experience first to try and understand. And when I sat with it, I thought, well, actually, what are the ingredients that have been present when I felt included? And I was reminded of, I used to go out with a guy in America, in Washington, and he invited me to his Black Baptist church, which was a really massive church. And I'm not religious and I'm not Black, but I thought, well, to honor the relationship and honor his involvement with that community, I'll go along. So I used to go every Sunday. And it was really interesting because I literally was the only white person. And I think there must have been, I think this place held about 1,500 people. So first of all, I thought, oh, do I feel included? And I did. And I think there was two big things that really made me feel included. At one point in the service, the pastor would say, we'd like you to greet each other. And people would they'd greet each other next, but they'd also extend their arms out to people beyond their seats. And the warmth and the love that I received from hugs and handshakes from people around me, first of all, it relaxed my system, my body felt relaxed, and I actually just felt held because
Mm.
of that one action. That was one thing. And then I think the other thing that I was looking for, which was absent, and I think this is really important, is acknowledgement. I didn't see an acknowledgement in that space of same gender loving relationship. And I kind of wanted to hear or see that at some point. It wasn't referenced, it wasn't acknowledged. And that took me back to my family, where when I was young, it was a very loving, warm kind of environment, particularly when I was a baby and when I was growing up at an early age. But there was an absence, there was a silence of acknowledgement of difference. And so I had this tug of war feeling of, this is my family, I belong here, but actually, do I really belong? Because I'm not being acknowledged until I came out and then forced the issue. So I think I came up with 9 ingredients that I think for me are really important for feeling included. But the top 2 were kind of unconditional or warmth or love, connection, and acknowledgement as 2 pretty important factors for myself. How about you, Ade?
Mm.
What kind of thoughts came up for you about this?
Wow, I really love what you shared, and it reminded me of church because I spent a lot of time, my teens and early 20s were spent in churches, and I used to love those greetings, which are customary in many Black churches, where we turn to, our neighbors, to the new people in church and greet them. And I suspect it was one of the reasons that I stayed in church for a very, very long time, because I really loved that sense of belonging. And the more I started to come to terms with myself and know who Ade is, the more I started to recognize that one of my criteria is the knowing within me that I can bring all of myself into spaces. So one of the questions I often ask myself is all of me welcome here? Is all of me welcome here, including my difference? And I'm learning, yeah, more and more actually, the fact that difference does not automatically equate otherness. And so when I'm in spaces, I'm not looking for them to see me as the same as them. I'm very comfortable and I'm very happy to be seen as different, because I know that when I'm included, my difference does not mean that I'm othered. I'm not othered in any shape or form. I'm actually part and parcel of it. So for me, it really comes down to, can I bring all of myself to spaces? And I suspect many of the guys who are going to be coming on the call with us next week probably have elements of this, where we bring our old stories to spaces. We become hyper vigilant to that notion of, am I going to be accepted here? Am I going to be included here? Can I talk about being gay? Can I talk about being bi? Can I talk about being queer? Can I talk about my partner? Um, can I talk about my heartbreak, my highs and my lows? Is every aspect of me welcome? The thing that I really love about the Quest Wednesdays is those guiding principles that we set at the beginning, where we do our best to make people feel that this is a space where they can bring all of themselves. They can bring their joy and they can bring their pain, they can bring their sorrow, they can bring their excitement. And for me, that's what inclusion is. That's what true inclusion is, creating spaces where people can bring all of themselves.
Wow, I'm absolutely loving this conversation. I think we could just talk for hours about this, and I think it's so rich. And my wish is for the Quest Wednesday to enable this rich exchange of ideas between the guys that will be joining us. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great evening, I think.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too, actually.